Hello, everyone. I'm Case Wilbanks with KCBD, and this is our Decision 2026 coverage of the upcoming municipal election. We're going to be talking to all the mayoral candidates, and first, right now, we're going to be speaking with the incumbent, Mayor Mark McBrayer. Mayor, thanks for being with us and for joining us again, because we were literally here 2 years ago as you sought your first term for mayor. So, we talk about Lubbock growing, people moving in, so there may be people out there who don't know who you are. So first, just introduce yourself to the voters.
All right, well, yes, I've been mayor for the past 2 years. Before that, I was 2 years on the city council representing District 3, where I grew up in Lubbock. My family moved here in the late 50s when I was a kid. I lived here ever since. My wife grew up here. My kids live here and my grandkids live here. I've had a number of careers. I started out as a youth minister, then I became a business owner after I got married, and at the age of 47 I went back to law school, became an attorney. I've been an attorney now since then, but was getting ready to retire from my law practice, and that's when I got involved in running for the office as city council. And then 2 years ago, when the mayor decided not to run again, I decided to run for mayor, and so that was a really incredible election. A very strong vote for me, so I've come into office with the belief that there's a lot that the citizens of Lubbock want me to accomplish, so I'm going to run again.
And what, in those 2 years, and even on the city council, what's something that you've learned that's really surprised you about how government works and the role of the mayor and council?
Well, one of the very pleasant things, it's surprising but pleasant, is to realize actually how well run our city is and how prepared we are for something as essential as water. People realize we're out here in the middle of what 100 and something years ago was called a vast uninhabitable desert, and yet here we are, a city approaching 300,000 people, and yet we have a water plan, a 100-year water plan, in which we will be able to provide for this city and all its water needs 100 years out into the future. Big part of that, which I signed the contract on last year, was Lake 7, which will be a lake just right outside of the city limits. It's now in the city limits, but right outside the loop on 50th Street. It'll be a lake about 2.5 times the size of Buffalo Springs Lake that will, when it's online and full in about 2032 or 3, will supply about a third of the water needs here in Lubbock.
And you mentioned why you're running again, hoping to sort of continue the job, so to speak, and that choice for a new direction was your campaign slogan. What is your main focus now that, seeking the next 2 years, what will be your focus?
Yeah, and the choice for the new direction was really, on my part, a lot about having someone in office who was much more accessible to the public, and I've spent a lot of time being everywhere anybody wants me to be, with clubs, church groups, neighborhood associations, just anybody who wants to have an opportunity to sit down and talk with me, coffee with the mayor. I've been there. I wanted people to know they had access. I listened to them, I heard them, transparency, and treating them as we answer to them. And I felt like there was sort of City Hall wasn't being as responsive to our citizens as it needed to be. So that's been my main goal, but working on water, working on, for the next 2 years, beefing up our police force. I think we need a significant number of new police officers in our city, so I'll be working to find a way to do that in our budget for next year. Our crime rate came down last year, but I want to see it go down further. And everybody knows, you read the newspaper, there's still significant amounts of crime that can be affected by more police officers. Drug and gang-related crime is the kind that you can affect with more police officers. Working on downtown, that's a big thing for me too. We've got a project that we'll be showing the citizens next week, some concepts for what we will be doing with our Civic Center to expand it with a new 60,000 square foot arena and exhibit hall that will attract more trade shows and conventions to Lubbock, and then help develop downtown around it. That's another big project for the next 2 years for me.
And those things cost money, getting new police officers, that water, all those sorts of resources, especially as the city grows. But you've also been an advocate for cutting property taxes. So where do you find that revenue for those things that you do want?
Right, and people who know, that was something I ran on, is always trying to keep your taxes low. And I've always voted for the no new revenue rate on the council and as mayor. And because I believe people have an expectation that we will not raise their taxes if it's not absolutely necessary. And so I've always fought for that, and I think the citizens have rewarded us by passing 2 almost back-to-back road bond issues because we didn't actually raise their taxes. I voted against raising their taxes always, but I didn't always have the votes on the council, but nevertheless, the council did not raise taxes very much at all. I think $30 on the average home over the last 2 years. But they did vote to allow us to go forward with big bond issues to build roads. And I think that was after voting one down just 2 years before, because we had kept a tight budget. So I think the citizens will understand if I come to them, we need more police officers, a significant number. If there is a tax increase on that, and I'm not saying there is, but if there is one for that, that's something they would be willing, I think, to allow us to do, because they realize the importance of it. Now, the Civic Center stuff is all paid with, not with property tax money or local tax money. It would all be paid for by money coming from visitors to Lubbock. So I'm very clear about that. That project is not a project that will fall on the backs of our Lubbock residents. So, police and safety is #1 job, and I think we need more police officers. It's clear to me to continue to make this city as safe as possible. And I'm running on safety, affordability, and growth this term. Those are my 3 points.
And you have come to the city council, the city manager, with your own budget and some of those cuts and things like that to make sure that you're not raising the tax rate as you would like it. Are you anticipating that again if you are to be elected again, to come up with your own budget and see some cuts in places?
Yes, I've done that each year I've been a mayor. I've come with my own proposals on where we might be able to cut things. Again, I'm one vote on a council, and so I've not succeeded in having the rest of the council agree with me on all my provisions. They've agreed with some of them. I will do that again this year to try to make sure that we still need to provide the level of service to the citizens that they expect. But I want to control that so that we can have room in our budget to hire as many police officers as possible. But if we need more and there has to be a tax increase, the public will know that money is all going towards new police officers, not to just build up some other office or some other positions in the city.
You mentioned water, and I think something that at least has gone as far as the P&Z, planning and zoning, is a data center. And it's something that's going to be affecting a lot of communities around here. What's your stance on that?
It's not just mine, the whole council, I think I can speak for. We are very cautious about data centers. We're not out there just trying to attract data centers like some other cities seem to be, like that some sort of a golden ticket if you can get it, you know, a prize. We're not that way. We realize water is so important. So the only kind of data centers we're even interested in talking to are those who are low water consumption. They've got we prefer them to have their own ability to generate at least part or all of their energy that they will need to operate the facility, that they would have enough land that they can buffer themselves from any being close to any residents, and that they're not coming to us with a big handout for a bunch of incentives. So, and we want a data center that is actually not just a spec build, I don't think. You know, somebody building it hoping someone will come. We want someone who will actually occupy it. So we're very careful about that. We have a lot that are coming to us, but we are not out there chasing them. There may come a point in which just the right one comes to us, because they can be very good for us in terms of property tax. They can be very good. And we do need businesses and industries coming to Lubbock, new businesses, new industries that help build up our industrial property tax so that it relieves the burden on the homeowner and their property tax. That's important to me.
You mentioned and the water plan, and Lubbock's diversified in its water. We've got water wells in other communities. Are you keeping an eye on that, making sure that, you know, if there is a data center, say in Bailey County or something near that water, that there's that conversation there where they're not taking that water that's coming to Lubbock?
Yeah, our water actually comes from Lake Allen Henry and from New Lake 7 when we get it built, some from Bailey County. Not much. That's really more of a, what I would call an emergency supply. Okay. For us if we need it, but we're not trying to draw those wells down. And then the Cremwa, which is the Canadian River Lake Meredith Water Authority, the pipeline that comes down from Lake Meredith and the water fields up way up in the north of the Panhandle, comes all the way down to Lubbock, serves us and 10 other cities. So we've got a very diversified water source, and we have available water for industry, but the right industry at the right amount we can handle. But we're not going to be giving away water like some cities are. You're saying, here, come and take it. We're not interested in that. So
I think there's a big question right now how the economy is going to be in the future. Yes. How are you prepared to handle that?
Well, of course, last year we had a fall off about $5 million in our sales tax. That hit us very hard, so we had to put the brakes on a number of things, freeze hiring in our city, And so those figures have started to come back. We've seen very good sales tax numbers for the past 3-4 months of this fiscal year so far that we're into. So I'm hopeful that we will have the sales tax and property tax revenue that we need, along with the other fees that we get, to put together a good budget that will continue to meet the needs of the citizens, what they expect from us, and add those additional police officers.
And if things do turn south, are you prepared?
We've done it before, and we know how to slam the brakes on. We do. But you can't always be in a negative or extremely cautious. We are conservative, but if you can be overly cautious and not move forward with things as they need to be moved forward, you can put off maintenance, and then you pay the effects of that. If you don't take care of your roads, you don't take care of your infrastructure, your old pipes, your old water lines, then you start having a waterfall of problems that it costs even more to deal with. So we've got to maintain what we've got: our parks, our infrastructure, our roads, but we're very cautious. I think everybody expects us to be conservative with their dollars, and I've always been that way and will continue to be that way.
Municipal elections are not paid attention to as much as other elections. Why should people pay attention to this one?
I think people should pay attention to their city elections, because I believe the city provides more to the average person that they depend on in their day-to-day life than any other level of government. When you think about it, your water, your electricity, your streets, your parks, all that, your police, your fire, all that you depend on. We are the closest to providing for the needs of citizens, and yet oftentimes people don't vote in those elections. I think I have 3 opponents in this election. I'm running, a campaign. I don't take it for granted that people want me for another 2 years. I want to tell them why I want to serve them for another 2 years. I want people to get out and vote. I hope that they will. We have 3 other districts have elections. One of them's unopposed, but the other 2, there's a contested elections there. So I hope people will show up and vote. And I would like to see more people run for office. It does not bother me that people are in the race with me. I think that's good. That causes me to say to people, this is why I'm running, this is why I want your vote, and they can hold me accountable for what I've talked about and what I've committed to.
Well, people can start voting on April 20th.
That's right.
Early voting begins then, and the election day is May 2nd. Mayor, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Case. Appreciate it.
Thank you.